So, Mark, we are celebrating 25 years of the agency. How did it all start? How did we get to this point?
25 years, yeah. And we actually started off providing technicians to ships. I think when I set the company up, everyone already had a service provider in the industry. But what was interesting was 25 years ago, ships were significantly getting bigger. And as the ships got bigger, the need for technicians grew as well. As the ships got bigger, the theatres got bigger and so on. And the shows probably got more intricate as well. And so suddenly a need from moving away from technicians who had general experience in audio and lighting, suddenly these more focused positions were necessary. It was a really interesting time because effectively the cruise industry was looking for technicians already experienced in the theatre industry to transition to sea. And that was really challenging.
And I think we're seeing more sort of events-based technicians as well now with like the ship-wide team. So they don't necessarily have to have that theatre background, do they? They can, if they've got live events experience instead, there is still a role for those people.
Yeah, I guess, again, hand in hand with as ships got bigger, bigger audiences, there was a bigger focus on entertainment. And outside of theatre, you would have other entertainment venues, mostly for the mix of demographic and the diversity of entertainment programming on board. So you would need to have different teams of technicians looking after different venues, which was groundbreaking at the time to have 25 technicians on a ship, to 35 technicians on the newer ships, to the Disney Adventure launching now with 55 technicians. Quite incredible. And one of the big challenges for us is finding the expertise to transition to working at sea and to really see these positions as a career move. I think traditionally there was an onus on universities and schools to focus students towards working in television and theatre. But now universities and colleges that we partner with, and we can talk about that in a second, actually are focusing on career moves with Disney Cruise Line at sea. And of course, you often are with Disney Cruise Line when they come over to the UK and visit our partners in the university and college industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do attend a select number of universities. We're always looking to expand our partnerships and sort of look at other opportunities, other universities, not just those specialist sort of performance-based schools and colleges. We are broadening that and going to more sort of mainstream universities that offer these technical courses. They offer costume courses, prop courses, broadcast. So yeah, we're going to these universities. We're speaking to those students, whether it's first, second, third years. We're interviewing at these universities as well when we're presenting. So there's lots of opportunities for those students to learn more about the opportunities that cruise ships have. So the cruise ships now are using all the latest technology, whether it's the latest lighting desks, audio desks, automation desks. And I think the really exciting thing is that these companies offer training courses, whether it's free online courses or in-person courses, that students can gain that experience if they're not using those particular desks in their university or in college. Then they can get that hands-on experience with the technology that cruise ships are using now.
Yeah. And of course, as the fleet gets bigger, which it is, and with these huge numbers of technicians on board each vessel, there are real career opportunities, not just for the individual positions, but also for growth. So either moving into leadership positions or moving into a more focused position, so a sideways move from an Audio 2 into an Audio 1, for example.
Yeah, so we see a lot of students sort of go on in an entry-level position. So typically we're looking for about 2 years of experience in a technical field. And then from there is the opportunities for them to grow, to gain extra skills. It's a really good stepping stone.
A technician at Plaza, actually, when we were exhibiting there with Disney Cruise Line. And I remember her in particular when she came over and she spoke about her first contract out of university, which was on the Disney Magic back in 19 years ago. And she spoke about how she did her first contract and didn't go back. But it was only years later that she realised the training and the discipline and the experience that she had on board, how valuable that was for her career ongoing. And she came over 18 years later to specifically share that with us, which I thought was lovely. And I think that these opportunities can be really enhancing because technicians have exposure to state-of-the-art equipment. There's a support structure that's second to none in the industry, as much as anything else, because Disney Cruise Line is the only cruise line that's owned by an entertainment company. So the importance of entertainment, actually at every level, from the minute that guests come on board, into that atrium, to the restaurants that have theming and entertainment, to, of course, the theatres and the cabaret lounges.
And that's the exciting thing as well, in that those technicians do get to work in all those different venues. It's not just your traditional theatre venue or your gig venue. They're getting a whole sort of wide range, and they're getting exposure to working in an outdoor venue on the stage, on the deck stage. They're getting to work in a nightclub. They're getting to work, as you said, in those sort of themed restaurants. So, and I think the great thing about Disney Cruise Line specifically is that they build their ships for entertainment.
There's a uniqueness about the role. It's probably the only environment where wearing a tuxedo, you're up a ladder changing lamps on a moving vessel. But I think not just the support structure and the experience of the equipment, but also actually the lifestyle on board as well. The friends that you make, the exposure to so many different cultures. It's such a rich experience that even for somebody that does one contract, especially if you're a freelancer, which most technicians are these days, even the ability to do a contract, step away from it, gain more experience, and then come back into the fold again, and then this real career path which exists right now, these real career opportunities to see individuals moving up into leadership positions is really quite something. And what I love in particular is when you visit the universities along with Disney Cruise Line, you're visiting with those individuals who are now in leadership positions who started off as Gen Techs 18 years ago, and they're sharing their experience firsthand with students. And I love that students are engaging with us. Even we're speaking to second year students as well, aren't we?
Yeah. So I do offer support to students, whether they reach out or they can come through their lecturer. If they send over their CV, I'm more than happy to jump on a one-to-one call, on a Teams call. We have monthly newsletters that go out to universities. They go out to people who've signed up to that newsletter if they've seen us at trade shows and things like that. And talking to students one-to-one, sometimes the CV doesn't quite reflect all of their experience. So it's really nice to sort of hear where those students have come, what their end goal is, where they see themselves going, and just giving them all the information about working on cruise ships and the different opportunities, and sort of looking at what skills they have, because they might see a position but not realise that actually their skill set could also be suitable for a different position. Being able to offer them those opportunities and tell them about all the different roles so that they can make a judgment call.
And I think that's something that we do really well, that we're really invested in people's careers. And as you say, when you have that opportunity to pre-screen with somebody, even if they're not sure about which direction they should go into, and that's partly because of the huge variety of different positions on board the ships. Somebody comes along with us with a bit of lighting, bit of sound experience, and then suddenly you're directing them into a focused position that they didn't even think about before.
And I think it's nice to have those one-to-one calls, because we see a lot of students at the trade shows, like at Plaza and things like that, and they'll come up and be like, oh, we had that chat, and I'll be able to put a name to a face, or they'll come and see me at a trade show, then I'll see them in a university presentation, and then they'll be like, right, I've seen you twice now, I think I'm ready to start my career or look for some guidance. So it's good that students see us in various places. They follow us on social media. They follow us on LinkedIn. So it's exciting to be able to talk to them and gauge their experience.
Great.
So what misconceptions do people have, or technicians have, about working on cruise ships?
Yeah, they still stagger me, actually. I think there is some where students think they're going to be washing down the decks, or candidates are going to think they're washing down the decks in addition to running sound and lights. I think somebody else thought they would be cooking dinner for the crew as well, which of course isn't the case. So anyone that works on board a Disney Cruise Line vessel, you come on board with your position and everything is focused around that role. The only additional duties you're going to have actually are health and safety duties, which you would have in a theatre or any venue anyway. So in this instance, lifeboat drills, for example. And there are some wonderful things where you could be commanding a lifeboat. You have the opportunity to get that additional training where you could actually be a lifeboat commander, which actually is a great skill to have. We offer a real goldmine of information. But I guess what advice would you give to students when they do apply to us and how they compose their CVs?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Mark. I think structuring your CV and making sure that it has all of that technical experience. It's fantastic if you've got those guest service skills, if you've got retail experience, but I want to know about your technical abilities. I want to know what skills you've got. So what desks have you got experience using? What microphone brands? What have you been working on? Have you been working in theatre? Have you been working on live events at festivals for an AV company doing corporate? Have you worked in studios? Do you have camera experience? All these skills that you might have.
And of course, maintenance as well.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the key things that all technicians on cruise ships need to have. Obviously, equipment is durable. It's getting a lot of use, but things are going to break. So having those skills and those abilities
is a real asset.
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot of cruise ships seem to be heading in the same direction when it comes to equipment on board, when it comes to hardware. What are we seeing in terms of sound, lighting and automation equipment?
Yeah, great question. So audio-wise, we're seeing a lot of Yamaha, definitely the QL and CL series in those smaller venues on ships. They're compact, they're nice and small, they're easy to use. Lighting-wise, we're seeing a lot of Grand MA, also ETC, so any of those skills, any of those desks, if you've got hands-on experience with them, great. Automation-wise, we're seeing tape predominantly, Navigator software, Acrobat G6 desks.
What's interesting is that as cruise ships have got bigger, in turn the theatres have got bigger, and not just the theatres, but as we were saying earlier, all the different entertainment venues as well. And this has created a demand and a need for lots of specialist positions. And so now we're seeing intricate shows which you might expect to see on the West End or in Broadway moving at sea, and in turn the technical need has grown as well. So we're not just seeing sound and light technicians, we're seeing positions for automation technicians, costume technicians, props and puppets technicians, riggers working at sea.
We're seeing a lot of students in the second, third years or first years come in and seeing us at these trade shows, and then every year we're seeing the same candidates. So these same students come back to us and come and have a little chat, give us an update on what they've been working on at either university or in a freelance capacity, because a lot of students do work outside of university as well, and that is something that cruise ships look for. They
mentioned show control, for example, not just theatre-based show control positions, but actually ship-wide and broadcast as well. That they are literally running a TV studio on board. What kind of positions are we going to see actually in broadcast and actually outside of the theatre?
Yeah, so ship-wide, we have audio positions, we have general technician positions, of course, senior, as we've touched on earlier. Broadcast-wise, there's general technicians, broadcast, so the camera operators. They do a lot of the editing of the footage from the cruise staff, the cruise director, their daily broadcast. Obviously senior positions, and also show control positions in that broadcast team who look after all the digital signage around the ship, as well as lighting and video.
Yeah.